It's a Married with Channels podcast. My name is Moose.
And I'm Jody.
We're married and we watch TV shows.
Sometimes.
Or we're not kissing and necking.
What?
What?
No, when we're not wrangling kids is more
That's more
the reality here.
That is the truth.
Oh
The
my
kid
gosh.
thing. Kids are
Yeah,
so annoying sometimes.
They have left us very little time for television watching. Let me just say that. But we managed to squeeze some in here.
Time and energy. Let's jump right into it with three episodes of the Book of Boba Fett, the Disney Plus show following Boba Fett coming out of the Sarlacc pit, essentially, and what happened to him. Episodes 3, 4, and 5 is what we're covering today. Can I say episode 3 sucked?
Yeah.
Like, that was just a shit show in all aspects. From the candy-colored scooters to the Wookiee who apparently doesn't know how to be a Wookiee. To probably the lamest chase scene I've ever seen.
Yes, that was horrible. And I'm glad you brought up the candy-colored scooters. I was like, this is just like Back to the Future. It's like the Back to the Future, chase on the hoverboard, kind of. Like, that's what it reminded me of. It was kind of just cheesy.
But that at least ended good with them getting a truckload of manure dumped on their heads. I mean...
Yeah, the payoff was there in that movie, but...
This didn't have that.
It just reminded me of that. That's all. Like, I'm watching it, and I'm like, this is like Back to the Future on the hoverboard.
But that one had, like, some kind of, like, thrill to it. A little bit of... there were some stakes and it just seemed like it was kind of intense. This one was boring. There was no edge of the seat, much less regular seat.
Also, I felt like it went on for a long time.
It did.
Like, okay, we get it. They're chasing him in a car.
But then you had like the Wookiee, trying to assassinate Boba Fett. He's lying there in a big pool of water.
Yeah.
You have armory. Why don't you just shoot him through the water? And if that doesn't work, you're a Wookiee. Like, if you go by canon, Wookiees can rip the arms off of men.
Sure.
And he did in a later episode. Well, the next episode, actually. But why is he not using his Wookiees? Unless he's like holding back for some reason. Because, if you go into the deep dive into it, they have a history, Boba Fett and Black Chrysanthemum was the Wookiee's name. But It just seemed like this isn't working.
Like, is he toying with him? Is he like a cat with a mouse that they play with for a while?
That's the only reason I can think of. But if you don't know that they kind of were bounty hunters together for Jabba at some point, or I forget the whole history, but their paths crossed in the past. And
maybe the Wookiee wants it to be a fight. Like,
maybe.
It would be easy for him to just rip him limb from limb.
Well,
but
then he's
maybe he wants, like, come on, Boba, fight me,
But then he's a bad assassin.
True.
Like, assassins don't want the fight. They just pay to kill.
Is he there to assassinate him, or is he there for a bounty on him?
He, by all accounts, is employed by the the Hutt twins that we saw in episode, 1 or 2?
Yeah.
And they told him before they floated their fat asses away, sleep lightly,
Yeah, they're sending people.
They literally told him, we're going to kill you while you're sleeping.
Do they want to kill him or do they want to capture him? I don't know.
They wanted to kill him.
Okay.
But that was kind of bupkis and...
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's essentially episode 3. I don't think we're missing any big beats there.
No.
Episode 4, that's the one where, like, we get the new Sarlacc. Not Sarlacc. Let me rejig my brain here a little bit. He flashes back to how he met Fennec Shan and all that stuff, and they then they go to the Wookiee at some point, but I don't understand why he's going to the Sarlacc pit to get his armor. He crawled out of the Sarlacc pit with his armor. Like, he used his armor to survive the acid of the stomach and to blowtorch his way out.
Yeah.
I mean, you would remember that.
Sure.
Even if you passed out when you got to the surface. I think you'd remember that. So that was a big plot hole for me.
Yeah.
And so, he helps Fennec Shan, and we see how she got her little robot belly and all that.
Yep.
And
then she decides to just kind of hang out with him, tag along. And they're kind of a thing now.
Yeah, and then they have this big scene where they, recapture his ship, Slave One. We forgot to mention in the episode 3, his Tusken Raider family got slaughtered by that biker gang.
Yeah.
And back to that, like, that bothered me because that's like the only plot line I care about in this show was his history with the Tusken Raiders.
Yeah, and they severed that now.
Yeah, they killed it off, and it's kind of like, I think that's your more valuable thing because it shows him finding a tribe, quite literally.
Right.
Instead of being this lone, like, that's probably what made him decide, I don't want to be a bounty hunter anymore. I want to be the boss. At least influenced it. But we don't get to explore that anymore, and I think that's a miss.
Also, I think the relationship was important to him. He started out their prisoner, and they accepted him as one of his own. So obviously, it's near and dear to his heart.
Yeah, he made a family.
Yes.
But so back to episode 4 of the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
He's in his sleep chamber, and he flashes back how he met Fennec Shan and all that. Okay, great. Then we have the getting of the ship, Slave One. So he storms Jabba's fortress, gets it. The only scene in that episode that was interesting was the kitchen scene where he was kind of chasing the one rat catching droid a little bit and the one chef droid that had all the knives. That was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But I don't even think the Wookiee in the cantina scene was interesting. Why is the Wookiee getting upset that these other assholes are winning at whatever gambling game they're playing?
I don't know.
And then he ends up ripping an arm off.
Yeah. There's his strength and Wookiee power.
Yeah. So he offers him a job and Black Chrysanthemum joins him. And then he has a meeting with some of the crime lords because the Pikes are the big bad in this at least season. So he says, you just stay neutral if I go to kick their ass. And they're like, okay.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where it ends. Anything else on episode 4? I mean, I think you know where I'm going with all of this.
I don't have anything else. I liked kind of that part where he was like, I'm done dying for stupid people. Like, those aren't the right quote words, but
that's a good paraphrase.
Yeah, it's a good paraphrase of it, but I like that part. It's like, he wants to be his own boss man now. Like, I'm tired of working for idiots, and who can't relate to that?
Yeah, right.
At some point in your life or career.
I'm my own boss. Probably the greatest, 4 words anyone can ever utter. Moving on to episode 5, The Return of the Mandalorian. In the Book of Boba Fett. Now, this was an episode all about Mando, and I don't understand why.
So it felt like, just another episode of The Mandalorian.
Yeah, it's like this is episode 1 of season 3.
I'm not complaining because I love it. I love the character. I love The Mandalorian almost more than this one. Well, I will say more than this show. I do love Mandalorian.
Agreed.
So.
And I'm going to shit on this episode too because it's all Mandalorian. And like you, I love The Mandalorian. I love the show. I love seeing the Mandalorian, Din Djarin.
Yeah, we learned his name.
They mentioned that a couple times.
Oh, well, I never paid attention before.
But it was all Mandalorian until literally the last 2-3 minutes when I always keep screwing up her name.
Fennec Shan.
Fennec Shan shows up.
Yeah.
And, wants to hire him. And he says, no, I'll do it for free to work for Boba Fett. Okay. Yeah. But this is a show about Boba Fett.
Yeah.
If you want to incorporate the Mandalorian, you have to have Boba Fett somehow.
Well, they kind of came back around to it, but they used a whole episode to get there, But
I just think this is just shitty filmmaking.
Also, I feel like...
And shitty writing.
I feel like they're like, whoa, Grogu was such a popular thing with the Mandalorian. They're looking for ways to bring Grogu in. And obviously the connection there is probably Mando, you know?
No, I get that. And I
They're kind
totally
of leading to that.
I totally get them bringing those worlds together because they were in The Mandalorian the last couple episodes of season 2.
Yeah.
You know, Boba Fett came back and all that.
Yeah.
I get that, but, you know, it's not like we had a whole episode of Boba Fett in The Mandalorian.
True.
I just think you can do that while still incorporating Boba Fett. Hell, Fennec Shan, you know, if she was scattered throughout this episode, that ties it more into the Boba Fett show. This just seemed like, if you didn't tell me this was a Boba Fett episode, I think it's a Mandalorian episode. There's nothing in the Boba Fett universe, in his plot, his storyline, that came into play here until the last 2 minutes.
I mean, other than the fact that they're looking for muscle, they're recruiting, you know, other bounty hunters that are of their caliber for their muscle. They're gearing up for something big.
But I think it's just confusing because we got into this world of The Mandalorian here. Now, I appreciate the new set pieces, that little, like, oval bowl-shaped world that they were on. That's cool.
Yeah.
And them in the bowels, like the catwalk area of the underneath of the world. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And, you know, the armorer lady is forming a Grogu gift out of his spear. That whole fight, that duel, that stuff's cool. That lore is cool, but it doesn't belong here.
Sure.
And it didn't do anything for the Boba Fett story. It's great for the Mandalorian story.
Yeah.
But I just think it was bad. I want to see the Boba Fett show.
Yeah, it was just
that's what I want.
Mando Part 2, and how can we introduce cute little Grogu again? So
yeah, and that leads me to like why I think the Boba Fett show sucks. Like I'll watch it, but it's all just remember berries. It's all, hey, there's Boba Fett.
Oh, remember that thing?
Hey, a Wookiee. Hey, look at that droid. He was in Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
You know, and Jabba's palace, you know, that's all like, it's all cool. As a Star Wars fan, I love seeing that in new context.
Sure.
But the story doesn't work. There's no story there. We're just getting to the story in episode 4. He's got to fight the Pikes.
They spend a lot of time on, I'm going to forget the character's name, but
Tusken Raiders?
Amy,
Sedaris.
Sedaris, thank you. Her character, they spent a lot of time rebuilding the ship, you know.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you're right, there's kind of another remember part, like when he's test driving it and he kind of gets pulled over by some
Galactic Police.
Whatever. Yeah, I don't know if you call
New
them
Republic police or whatever, yeah.
And even that is kind of like, oh, it's the same guy. He remembers him in the Razor Crest, you know? Yeah. And so, there's a lot of those kind of, how do we intertwine both things here?
It was an episode of The Mandalorian. And look, I'll put it this way. If we're going to sit down for pizza, I don't want to start eating ice cream.
Sure.
You know, I'm here for pizza.
Yeah.
Then maybe later, season 3, we have some ice cream.
Yeah.
That's my problem. And with that episode, but my problem with the Boba Fett show is what I said. There's no story there.
I want a slice of pizza and then like 2 bites of ice cream per slice of pizza. Like,
okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, like that's kind of what I was hoping for. But I mean, I don't hate it. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. So,
yes, I'm with you on that. I think it's different for me because I'm a Star Wars fan, and yes, all the visuals are cool to see these characters. That's great. But as an adult who appreciates good story and storytelling and plot, it's missing.
Sure.
It's failing. That's
Go ahead.
No, that's it.
Oh.
I think I beat that to death like a womp rat under a Wookiee foot.
I was also going to say, there's a lot of things that remind me of other things. Like when he's test driving the ship, did you think Top Gun?
No.
No?
No, I thought the prequels.
The racing and whatnot. Yeah, a little bit of that too.
I think he literally took that through one of the canyons they raced in.
Yes.
Which, God, stay away from the prequels, please. Also, I don't think that ship would be a good ship for Mando. Like, if he's a bounty hunter, that's his profession.
Where are you going to put a passenger, huh?
You have no cryogenic chamber.
Yeah.
There's hardly any cargo room.
Yeah.
You could put maybe one person in that seat behind you where they emptied out the droid space.
Yeah.
Practically, nah.
It's
like a Father 5 getting a Ferrari coupe, you know?
Putting a car seat in the back. Yeah. How are you going to do that? Maybe it has a sidecar.
It's Italian Grogu. All right, I think we beat that one to death.
I'm waiting to see Grogu, though.
Oh, yeah, he'll come, but I think it'll be Mandalorian Season 3. They're going to put that little bait out there, and then when you go to bite, they're going to yank it away.
I don't know. In the end of this episode, he was like, I'll join you, but I got to make a stop and see a small friend first.
Oh, also, real quick, I got an audio clip from Boba Fett. This is episode 4, where he gets the Rancor.
Ah.
His new baby Rancor.
I think it likes this.
It does.
I will spend more time with it.
You should. They can become very loving.
I thought they were bred just to fight.
They're powerful fighters, so that is what most know. But they form strong bonds with their owners. It is said that the witches of Dathomir even rode them through the forest and fens.
I want to learn to ride this one.
You what?
I want to ride it. I've ridden beasts 10 times its size. Teach me.
Teach me. Like, he's weirdly infatuated with that Rancor.
It's kind of sweet, though. I don't know, like they bond and I don't know.
We're seeing little shreds of Boba, like he likes the beasts. Like the Bantha, he was super nice to, that he rode to Jabba's palace.
Yeah.
But I thought he's a little too in love with that Rancor. Like, oh, he's going to be like, can you leave the room? Just leave me and the Rancor alone and dim the lights.
That's funny. I thought it was really sad when he was releasing the Bantha. Like,
oh, yeah.
Oh, it was like this trusty dog that went with him everywhere. And now you're just like, go, get out of here. Come on. You know, you're free. And I'm like, oh.
The irony is somebody's going to grab that Bantha and make it its little horse again. Let's move on to another show. And we go to Peacemaker.
Yeah.
Episode 4. This is the complete opposite of Boba Fett. You have interesting characters, you have some action, and you have an interesting story going on. And it's written real well. It's written real well. Say that 5 times fast. The chode less traveled. So, I don't know. You have some. There's a lot of like father-son stuff going on here.
A lot.
He's slowly coming to terms with the fact that his dad is not only a racist asshole, but he's probably a villain.
Yes.
With the White Dragon, I think, is what his villain character's name is.
Yes.
So he gets all drunk, Peacemaker, starts lamenting some kills, especially Rick Flag from Suicide Squad. The childhood comes to mind, all that. I thought the prison sequence was funny. The vigilante character's interesting to me. He
is interesting, and he has a good voice, and it's like one of those voices that doesn't quite match what he looks like, which is interesting.
A very clean, well-spoken, full voice without being like a voice of God.
Right.
Like an perfect everyman voice.
Yeah. And it just, I don't know, for me, it's like you hear him and then you see him and you're like, does not match, but okay.
It's interesting when he took his mask off, finally it was revealed he was the bus boy from that one restaurant. And they said as much, like, isn't that the bus boy from so-and-so restaurant?
Yeah.
But that scene where he said, hey, what's Peacemaker's real name? Chad? Chris. Hey, say Chris. And he's like the dopey brother of some other guy.
Yeah.
And they held on him long enough, the bus boy, that you're like, oh, this kid's going to come into play.
Sure. You caught that. Yeah. Okay.
So he gets, they're friends.
Yep.
He's kind of part of the team, vigilante.
Yeah.
And he gets himself thrown into prison because, Abadayo says, Chris's dad is an asshole and he's going to have to learn that his dad is a shit stain.
Yeah, they kind of plant the seed for him to go on Chris's behalf and mess him up, or is he going to with the intention to kill him?
I think to kill him.
All right.
Here's the scene where Vigilante is in jail with Augie, his dad. He goes up to Augie and his white nationalist skinhead buddies
table
and tries to provoke them into a fight.
Let's each say something that we're grateful for that black people have contributed to American culture.
Is this dude joking right now?
No. Hey, look, I'll go first. I'm grateful that black people gave us rock and roll music. Lynyrd Skynyrd, ZZ Top, 38 Special, all those guys owe everything to black American folk and blues musicians. I mean, they wouldn't exist without them. And then white redneck music would just sound like, well, what it sounded like before black people, which was the wet, sloppy sounds of fucking your sister. Okay, so that's my turn. Which one of you dumb sister fucking tiki torch carrying sloth from the Goonies looking pieces of shit wants to go next?
Who the fuck are you?
You're first? Cool. Okay, wait, no, let me guess.
We'll just end it there. I mean, and then the fight erupts, but Peacemaker's dad doesn't take the bait, so he's not able to engage him and kill him. But that's a fun scene.
That was funny.
Excuse me.
And snappy. That's that snappy, quick humor that they do so well in this show.
Yeah, and there's characters we care about. There's relationships going on. You know, the snappy dialogue. There's good action for the most part. And then we have the big twist at the end. And spoiler alert coming. Myrn, the head of the group, is apparently a butterfly.
Yes.
As he pulls a bowl close to his face on a couch one night, and a big proboscis comes out and slurps up that bowl of honey or whatever the hell it is.
Yep.
So now that's where we get into the questions. Like, so is Myrn bad? Or maybe there's good butterflies that are trying to thwart the bad butterflies, a la the chick that Peacemaker screwed in the first, one episode?
It kind of makes sense now when before he was like, I don't share feelings, you know, and like, I think maybe he's trying to blend in. He's trying to mimic human behavior. He's trying to like, oh, this guy shared some feelings, so I should do that too, you know, kind of like I think he's bad butterfly trying to blend in.
You think? But he's been very adamant about, like, for instance, when they were trying to snipe the congressman and his family.
Yeah.
He was on the walkie-talkie like, if you got a shot, do it. Shoot him. Shoot him.
Maybe he's a bad butterfly, like.
Who wants to ascend to power or something?
Like he's trying to take over, you know, the butterfly's position in our world. I don't know.
Maybe. Like the head butterfly.
Yeah.
And, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And, you know, his way is like, well, I'm going to infiltrate people who can take out the other butterflies.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's interesting. You juxtapose that with the Boba Fett stuff. And, like, there's multiple things going on with Peacemaker. There's Peacemaker and his dad. How's that going to go? Is he going to end up in a battle with him? There's the butterflies. Then you have the Myrn butterfly. There's a couple questions there. So there's like 3 different plots going on that are interesting.
And more than that, too, it's, you know, Amanda Waller's, is it her niece?
Her daughter.
Her daughter. You know, she's part of this team, and you don't know what her intentions are. Amanda Waller's, that is, you know, kind of pulling those puppet strings as well.
Yeah. And there's like a daughter-mother situation there.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on in Peacemaker, which is interesting. Like, on surface, it should be just some snappy show about a guy with a silver helmet, you know, shooting people. And
kicking butt, yeah.
But there's more going on there. And it's just well done.
Yeah. And funny.
Yeah. I like Peacemaker.
Yeah.
It's got the funny, it's got the action, it's got the stories, the plots. What do you got, Boba Fett? Sorry, I'm shitting all over that show.
You are.
I'll keep watching it, though.
Of course.
Because I'm a Star Wars dork.
Of course.
I don't know. Anything else on Peacemaker, episode 4? As we record, we have 5 waiting for us. We'll get to that tonight, probably.
Yeah, no, I'm curious to see where all these threads pull out at the end, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Agreed.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to do it for us. On this Married with Channels podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the show. Give us a good review on your podcast provider. And tell your friends.
Yeah, share. Tell your friends.
Share it. Yeah. And get us up on Twitter at MarriedWChans. Until next time, I'm Moose.
And I'm Jody.
We'll see you later.
Bye.